Okay, let's do some sample calculations for 20 grams of water starting out as ice. It's going to melt. We're going to heat it up all the way to the boiling point, and then we're going to make it evaporate. So the three formulas are all found on the reference tables. The three constants are all found on the reference tables. Heat of fusion, specific heat, heat of vaporization. Okay, so from your heating curve here, which I made smaller, this is the melting point here. Okay, so there's our formula right off the reference tables. Okay, and so hopefully you can read this. It's 20 grams for the mass, 334 joules per gram from the reference tables. That is the heat of vaporization. You simply multiply those together and the grams cancel and you're left with joules as your unit. Okay, 6680 joules. Okay, now for the heating water. Now in this case, the temperature is changing. Okay, that means the kinetic energy is changing. Okay, and that's one thing you'll need to know. Here's our formula from the reference tables. Mass times specific heat times temperature change. 20 grams is the mass for the entire exercise. 4.18 is the specific heat. And then the temperature change, if you go from 0 degrees, the freezing point, melting point, up to the boiling point, the temperature change would be 100 degrees. And that's delta T. Okay, you multiply all that stuff together, 8,360 joules. Okay, and that's kinetic energy being added to the substance. Okay, so up here at the 100 degree mark, we're going to vaporize the water using this formula from the reference tables. Okay, this is the heat of vaporization from the reference tables. Here's our mass. We multiply that together, we get 45,200 joules. Okay, now what kind of energy is that? Now we're not changing the temperature, so it's not kinetic. Kinetic energy, the energy of motion, is measured by temperature. Okay, so if you have a situation where the temperature is changing, that's a change in kinetic energy. Are we adding energy? Yes. For the boiling and for the melting, the type of energy is potential energy. So we are adding potential energy to go from a liquid to a gas. We are adding potential energy to go from a solid to a liquid. Okay, so the three P's: potential, phase change, plateaus. They all go together, and that's the type of energy. If there's a change in temperature, that's a change in kinetic energy. Okay, so there's some sample calculations. There's one on Schoology where the mass is, there's a slideshow now where the mass is 120 grams, but the calculations are pretty similar. Okay, I hope that helps, and we will catch up with this tomorrow, and hopefully everybody's doing okay with it. Thanks, see you soon.